If you are a woman over 60, please listen very carefully over the next few minutes, because what I'm about to share may explain a feeling that many women have experienced, but that is rarely spoken about clearly. You may be drinking enough water every day. You may be using good quality creams. You may have even tried collagen and many other skincare products. Yet every morning when you wake up, your skin still feels drier, thinner, more prone to creases, and your face looks more tired, even though you are not sleep deprived. If that sounds familiar, please know this one very important thing. You are not doing anything wrong, and this is not because your skin is simply aging in the way many people assume. The reality is that after age 60, a quiet change occurs inside the body that prevents the skin from receiving what it needs to repair itself the way it once did. For many years, we have been taught that drinking enough water is the foundation of healthy skin, and you have been doing exactly that. You drink consistently. You believe that if your body is hydrated, your skin will naturally become softer and more radiant. But then something confusing happens. Despite drinking enough water, your skin is still dry. Despite consistent care, your skin is thinner and creases more easily. And even without changing your lifestyle, wrinkles appear more clearly each morning. Many women tell me, "Doctor, I'm doing everything right, but my skin no longer responds the way it used to." If you have ever felt this way, please know that you are not alone. And more importantly, this does not mean that what you are doing is useless. The issue lies here. Drinking enough water no longer automatically means that the skin is being fully nourished, especially after age 60, because at this stage of life, the skin needs more than water. It needs nutrients to be delivered to the right place, at the right time, and in a way that your current body can actually use. What you need to understand is this. This is not simply a matter of age. If it were only about age, all women would change in the same way, at the same time, but that is not what we see. Some women, after 60, maintain relatively stable skin, while others notice their skin thinning rapidly, sagging faster, and struggling to recover after each night's sleep. That difference does not come from who uses better skincare or more expensive products. It comes from a quiet internal change that I call silent nutrient deprivation of the skin, not because your body lacks nutrients, but because your skin is no longer receiving them as effectively as it once did. The water is still there. Collagen may still be there. Vitamins and minerals may still be there. But the pathways that deliver all of these to the deeper layers of the skin, where real repair and regeneration occur, begin to slow down and narrow after age 60. And when that happens, the skin does not deteriorate loudly. It weakens quietly, slower, thinner, and less responsive. Many women struggle to put a name to what is happening to their skin. They only know that things no longer feel the same as before. Makeup no longer sits well on the skin. Foundation settles into fine lines around the mouth and eyes. The skin looks more deflated in the morning, then more fatigued by the end of the day. When they touch it, the skin no longer has that familiar elastic feel. It is thinner, more easily marked, and slower to recover after being stretched. Even from something as simple as a pillow crease from sleeping on the side. Many women quietly wonder, is my skin aging too fast? Or did I miss something important? The truth is, this is not imagined. And it is not because you are not taking good care of yourself. This is the sign of a very specific condition that I call silent nutrient deprivation of the skin, not a deficiency on lab results, not a lack in your diet, but a lack at the exact place where your skin needs it most. Your skin is still there. The nutrients are still there, but the process of delivering them to the deeper layers of the skin, where collagen is repaired and elasticity is maintained, becomes slower after age 60. And when the skin is no longer properly nourished, it does not age overnight. It becomes more fragile, less responsive, and it gradually loses that feeling of being supported from within. The most important thing to remember is this. This is not your fault. It is simply a sign that your skin now needs a different approach, one that better matches the biology of your body. At this stage of life, before we go any deeper, I want to briefly share why I care so deeply about these changes. My name is Dr. Evelyn Brooks. I am a physician specializing in women's health, with over 15 years of direct experience, working with women during perimenopause and postmenopause. Throughout those years, I have met countless women who came to me with the same questions. They did not ask, "How do I look younger?" They asked, "Why doesn't my body respond the way it used to? Why is my skin thinner and weaker even though I take such good care of it?" What I realized was this: they were not lacking effort. They were lacking an explanation that matched their body's current biology. Much of the skincare advice available today is designed for women in their 30 seconds or 40 seconds, but it is applied unchanged to women over 60. And that is where the confusion begins. My goal in this video is not to tell you what to buy or to ask you to change everything you do. My goal is to help you understand what has changed inside your body so you can care for your skin more gently, more accurately, and in a way that truly fits this stage of life. And to do that, we need to start with the factor that determines whether the skin can be nourished from within, one that is rarely discussed after age 60. When it comes to skin, most people focus only on what they apply on the surface or what they consume. But there is one crucial truth. Collagen does not find its way to the skin on its own. It only gets there when the body delivers it to the right place. Imagine your body as a city under repair. Collagen, oxygen, vitamins, and minerals are the building materials. The deeper layers of the skin are the structure that needs restoration. But if the roads leading there become narrow, then no matter how many materials are available, they cannot reach the site to do their work. In the body, those roads are the tiny blood vessels beneath the skin, and what determines whether they open or not is a very small but critically important molecule, nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is not a cream. It is a biological signal that tells blood vessels to open, allowing oxygen, collagen, and nutrients to flow into the dermis, where the skin is repaired and firmness is maintained. When nitric oxide declines, the skin does not suddenly age. Instead, the nourishment process is disrupted. Collagen may still exist in the body, but it is no longer transported efficiently to where the skin needs it most. And this is the key point that so much skincare advice fails to address. When speaking to women over 60, after menopause, a woman's body does not stop functioning, but the way it operates changes. One of the biggest changes, and one of the least talked about, is the decline in estrogen. Estrogen is not only related to reproduction. For many years, it acts as a quiet regulator, helping blood vessels remain flexible and supporting steady production of nitric oxide. When estrogen declines, nitric oxide declines as well. The tiny blood vessels beneath the skin begin to constrict. Blood flow slows down. Oxygen and nutrients no longer reach the skin as easily as before. This becomes especially important at night, the time when the skin is meant to repair and regenerate most actively. When circulation weakens, fibroblasts, the cells responsible for producing and repairing collagen, do not receive enough signals to function efficiently. They do not disappear, they simply slow down. And when the rate of repair becomes slower than the rate of collagen breakdown, the skin begins to change. Quietly, gradually. Each morning, the skin loses a little fullness. Each night, its ability to recover weakens slightly. This is why many women say, "I feel like my skin aged very quickly in just a few years after menopause." The truth is, this is not because you missed some critical window. It is because from this stage onward, the skin is no longer being nourished in the same way it once was. And if skincare continues to rely on methods designed for a younger female body, the skin will continue to respond weakly. This is not your failure. It is simply a sign that your body now needs a strategy that matches its current biology. And this is where we need to clarify one very common misunderstanding. Hydration is not the same as circulation. Drinking water prevents dehydration, but only circulation allows the skin to truly repair itself. You can drink enough water every day, yet the blood vessels beneath the skin may still be constricted, blood flow may still be slow, and collagen may still fail to reach the deeper layers where it needs to work. In the same way, taking collagen does not automatically mean that collagen reaches the skin. That depends on the transport capacity of the blood vessels, not on how much you consume. And once you understand this difference, a very natural question arises. If drinking water alone is not enough, then what can we do to help water truly nourish the skin after 60? The answer to that question is where real change begins. So the most important question right now is not how much water should you drink, but rather, is the water you are drinking actually nourishing your skin? After age 60, the skin no longer responds well to water alone. It needs guidance. It needs biological signals to reopen the pathways that deliver oxygen, collagen, and nutrients to the areas that need repair. This does not require changing your entire lifestyle, and it does not involve complex or expensive methods. Sometimes the difference begins with something very small, added to what you already use every day, not to force the body, not to pull the skin back, but to remind the body how it once nourished its own skin. And that is why, in the next part, I want to share with you a gentle, natural component that can help reactivate this transport signal. So water does more than simply hydrate, and instead begins to nourish the skin from within. After age 60, there is a reason why many women over 60 feel that their skin suddenly loses its natural radiance, even though they continue to care for it consistently. Not because collagen no longer works, but because collagen is no longer delivered to the skin the way it once was, and this is where a very familiar ingredient begins to play an important role: beetroot. Beetroot is not a cosmetic. It does not act on the surface of the skin. It works from within by supporting the body in producing nitric oxide again, the biological signal that tells blood vessels to open. Beetroot is one of the richest natural sources of dietary nitrates, which the body converts into nitric oxide without relying on estrogen, a detail that is especially important for women after menopause. When nitric oxide is reactivated, the tiny blood vessels beneath the skin begin to widen. Blood flow carrying oxygen, collagen, and nutrients can reach the deeper layers of the skin, where real repair takes place. Many women do not describe this change as looking younger, but through very subtle sensations. The skin looks more awake in the morning. The face feels supported from within. The complexion appears less dull and tired, even without much makeup. This change does not come from the surface. It comes from the fact that the skin is finally receiving what it had been missing for a long time: steady circulation and delivery. In clinical practice, many women notice that their skin begins to respond differently after about 1 to 2 weeks and continues to improve gradually in terms of hydration and overnight recovery, not because the skin is being stimulated, but because the nourishment pathways have been reopened. However, activating nitric oxide is only the first step, because if this signal breaks down too quickly, the nourishing effect on the skin will not last. And that is why, in the next section, we need to talk about another component that helps protect and sustain this signal, so the skin is not only awakened, but able to maintain its improvement over time. When it comes to improving skin after age 60, many women focus on one familiar question: how can I produce more collagen? But there is another question that is just as important and often overlooked. How can we protect the collagen the body still has? Because after menopause, collagen does not decline only because of time. It is also broken down more quickly by silent inflammatory reactions and enzymes in the skin that tend to become more active. Even if you have reactivated the transport signal with beetroot, if collagen and nitric oxide are broken down too quickly, the skin will still struggle to maintain improvement consistently. And this is where pomegranate begins to play a very special role. Pomegranate is not an ingredient that directly builds new collagen. Instead, it acts as a biological shield. Pomegranate is rich in polyphenols, natural compounds that can help protect nitric oxide from being broken down too quickly in the blood, reduce oxidative stress around fibroblasts, the cells that produce collagen, slow the activity of enzymes that break down collagen. When nitric oxide lasts longer, the blood flow that nourishes the skin does not appear only briefly, but is maintained more steadily throughout the day. Many women describe the effect of pomegranate not as a sudden change, but as a feeling that the skin becomes more stable, fewer sleep creases in the morning, less sensitivity when the weather changes, and less of that fragile feeling in vulnerable areas, such as around the eyes, the neck, and the jawline. Some women also notice that makeup sits better on the skin, not because the skin is tighter, but because the surface becomes more balanced and stable. What is important to understand is this: pomegranate does not promise miracles. It does not make the skin look young again in a few days. Instead, it helps the skin hold on to what is slowly recovering, so that each small improvement is not lost too quickly. And once the signal has been activated and protected, we can take the next step, helping collagen move more efficiently to the areas of the skin that are losing elasticity and support most noticeably. That is the role of the next ingredient. I want to share with you. Many women have tried collagen for years and still feel that their skin does not retain elasticity as expected. Not because collagen is absent in the body, but because collagen is not reaching the right places. This is where citrulline, a natural amino acid found abundantly in watermelon, plays a very important role. Unlike arginine, which is partially broken down in the digestive system, citrulline is converted more gently and efficiently into arginine, directly in the bloodstream, supporting steadier nitric oxide production over time. When nitric oxide is maintained consistently, the tiny capillaries beneath the skin can open gently but continuously, delivering collagen, oxygen, and nutrients to areas that tend to decline first, such as the neck, the jawline, and around the eyes. Many women describe the effect of citrulline not as tighter skin, but as skin that creases less, collapses less when smiling or talking, and recovers better after sleep. The skin no longer feels like thin paper. It begins to hold its structure better during everyday movement. Citrulline does not force the body to create new collagen. It simply helps collagen travel the right path to the right cells that need support and repair. And once transport becomes smoother, we need to pay attention to the quality of the pathway itself. The root collagen travels every day. That is why the next ingredient focuses on repairing and nourishing the tiny blood vessels beneath the skin so that improvements can be more sustainable over time. After age 60, the skin's challenge is no longer superficial. It lies deeper in the very pathways that deliver nutrients to the skin each day. Over time, the small blood vessels beneath the skin do not just narrow, they also become less flexible and more prone to inflammation. When that happens, even if collagen is produced, even if it is transported more effectively, it still struggles to reach the areas of skin that need repair the most. This is where pine bark extract plays a distinctly different role. This ingredient does not only support collagen, it focuses on caring for the vascular endothelium, the inner lining of blood vessels, which determines how smoothly blood can flow to nourish the skin. The natural compounds in pine bark help reduce low-grade inflammation in vessel walls, increase blood vessel elasticity, and improve microcirculation to the areas most prone to aging, such as around the eyes, the neck, and the corners of the mouth. Many women describe this change. In very subtle terms, the skin feels less fragile to the touch, less reactive to weather changes, and it looks calmer and more even without the cycle of good days and bad days. Pine bark does not produce fast results, but it creates a strong foundation. When the transport pathways are repaired, every nutrient that passes through has a better chance to work effectively. And once the foundation is stable, the final step is not more stimulation, but steady nourishment so the skin can maintain what it is gradually recovering. That is the role of the next component, a factor that helps the skin maintain long-term balance instead of constantly chasing repair. After activating the signal, protecting collagen, improving transport, and repairing the nourishment pathways, a very natural question arises. How do we maintain these improvements over time? Because after age 60, the skin does not respond well to overly aggressive solutions or sudden changes. It needs consistency. It needs a steady rhythm, and that is exactly the role of leafy greens powder. Unlike fast-acting activators, leafy greens do not wake up the skin. They nourish it. Rich in vitamin C, vitamin K, folate, magnesium, and natural nitrates. Leafy greens powder helps the body maintain nitric oxide production gently and steadily each day. This is important because collagen is not repaired in a single day or week. It is repaired little by little, especially at night, when circulation is stable and the body enters a recovery state. Many women describe the effects of leafy greens not through dramatic changes in the mirror, but through a feeling that the skin is less thirsty. In the morning, the skin no longer feels tight or dry. There is less puffiness around the eyes. And the skin looks calmer and more balanced. Instead of fluctuating between good days and bad days, leafy greens powder does not create dramatic results, but it helps keep the skin's foundation stable. So what the skin has begun to restore is not lost too quickly. And when the skin no longer has to constantly chase, repair, it begins to enter a very different state, a state of maintenance and self-care. That is exactly what skin after 60 needs most. Now, when we look back at everything we have discussed, a very clear picture begins to emerge. Your skin does not change faster, simply because time passes. It changes when the internal nourishment system is no longer working in sync. After age 60, what the skin needs is not more pressure, not an attempt to pull or fix from the outside. It needs the right kind of support from within. When circulation is reactivated, when collagen is protected, when transport pathways are repaired, and when nourishment is maintained consistently, the skin does not try to look younger. It simply begins to become healthier, less fragile, less unpredictable, and better able to recover from the small stresses of everyday life. The most important thing I want you to remember is this: you are not too late. Your body has not abandoned you after 60. It is simply communicating in a different language. And when you understand that language, the way you care for your skin becomes gentler, less exhausting, and far less confusing. Restoring collagen at this stage of life is not a race. It is a process of reconnecting the skin with what your body is still very capable of doing well. Stability, nourishment, and the ability to repair itself when supported in the right way. And from that, a very different feeling emerges. A quiet confidence, not from looking younger, but from feeling that your skin is truly supported and properly cared for. If what you have just heard brought you clarity, reassurance, or simply the feeling of finally understanding what is happening, I am truly grateful that you stayed with me until the end of this video. The goal of this channel is not to ask you to change everything overnight. It is to help you understand your body better, so each choice you make feels gentler and less pressured. If you found this content helpful, you may like the video or subscribe to the channel so you do not miss future videos about health and skin. After age 60, you are also welcome to share in the comments your age and where you are watching from. I read every comment, and it helps me better understand what women like you are truly concerned about. And before we close, I want you to remember one very important thing. You are not too late. You still have many ways to support your skin in a kind and appropriate way. Thank you for your trust and for taking the time to listen. I look forward to seeing you in the next videos.